Welcome to Daughter Arise. My name is Yvonne and this channel is all about bringing you content surrounding childhood sexual abuse. Now this one is going to be hard for a lot of people to hear. It was hard for me to hear many years ago when I was first trying to navigate my own healing journey. It's something that a lot of people would probably balk at, but it's something that I feel is so essential to the recovery process of childhood sexual abuse, and that is to forgive. That could be to forgive yourself, that could be to forgive your abuser. Now, the reason why I say this is because forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook, letting them off the offence, what they've done against you. You know, as a Christian, my faith has helped me to understand the importance of forgiveness. And in forgiving somebody, it is saying that you are releasing yourself from their offence. It is about reclaiming your power and saying that I'm not allowing how I feel about you to ruin my life anymore. And it's something that can take a long time to get your head around. It took me a long time. After I had my first nervous breakdown at 22 years old, one of the things I started to work through for the first time in psychotherapy was the issues that were left behind, but also understanding that the root of my depression and anger came from unforgiveness, holding on to the offence. And I know it's not easy to do, to let go of what somebody has done to you. And I am going to do another video about bitterness and anger and stuff like that, because I do feel it's important for people to understand how it can affect the mind, the body and the spirit. But forgiveness is one of those things that releases you emotionally and spiritually to be able to heal, to be able to start the, really important work of addressing some of the things that had happened to you in your childhood. Forgiveness is so powerful. And as I mentioned, it's not for the other person, it is for you. It took me 9 years to fully feel, if that could be a way that I could put it, like I had forgiven my dad for what he's done to me. I mean, I can look back and see that it was really hard. And one of the things I want to share with you is forgiveness is an act. It's not a feeling. It is an act of just doing it. It wasn't like I said, I forgive my dad and then everything just became better. No, I had to continue to work through the issues that were left behind because of the things that he did to me. I had to, every time I felt anger come up about the injustice of not getting justice, the anger of being violated, praying and giving it to God and saying, Lord, I give this to you. Please help me to deal with it. And the beauty of being a Christian and being somebody who is a believer in Christ is that Jesus can help you to forgive. He can help you. He can show you how to forgive. He can release those burdens from you. And it was a real benefit to my life because, it just freed me up from that baggage. I found that my depression got a bit better. I found that I wasn't as angry as I was anymore. So that is something I would say to you to seriously consider. And remembering that it's not about them, it's about you and claiming back your power, and also as well to forgive yourself. I found that I held a lot of anger to myself for things that were outside of my control. I couldn't forgive myself for the way that I dealt with certain parts of my abuse. Couldn't forgive myself for how I felt about my own self. Lots of different things, and in being unforgiving towards myself, it manifested itself in just being too harsh on myself, too hard on myself. And that's something that I've done a video about on this channel, about how unforgiveness of myself was showing up in my life. What happens is when you've gone through childhood sexual abuse, the shame and the guilt can turn onto yourself with not understanding how it turns onto yourself, and you can carry that and it just manifests itself in unforgiveness and other things. Another thing I want to share with you quickly about how to have a healthy 2021 is to invest time in self-care. What I found along my own journey of going through childhood sexual abuse and in the recovery, especially in the recovery, in the aftermath of going through it, is that so much of my time was consumed with trying to survive, trying to get through each day, trying to go through each battle that came up, because there were so many different things that were going on with me that I didn't really spend time in self-care. What I used to do instead actually was to spend time in dysfunctional things like drinking too much, smoking weed, engaging in dysfunctional relationships, self-harming, all these different types of dysfunctional things I was engaging with. I didn't invest in self-care because I didn't think I was worth caring about. I didn't feel like I was lovable. I didn't feel like I was valuable, because that's one of the things that sexual abuse left behind for me in my experience, is that it made me feel like I was damaged goods, like I was dirty, like I was spoiled goods. So self-care for me wasn't really something that I looked at all. It's only in the later years of my healing recovery journey, after starting to deal with some of the issues that were left behind from my abuse and putting a lot of those issues to bed, I started to, invest in self-care, spending time, looking at things that were going to improve my mental health, eating healthily, all these different types of things I started to look at as part of my self-care. Now, that might not be a place where you're at the moment, but in time, as you work through the things that have affected you and you start to engage in things that help to increase your self-esteem and confidence, you will find that you start to feel different about yourself. That's what I found anyway. And in turn, then, you're going to want to start to engage and invest in things that help you to be the best that you can be. So just in a follow-up to self-care, another couple of things I want to share with you, and that is to, spend time engaging in things that you love to do, and also to celebrate your wins. I did a video about celebrating your wins and why that is important. I talked about how the battle can be so brutal in recovering from childhood sexual abuse, that even the small victories, like getting out of bed early and engaging in something that you want to do, can feel like a huge win, especially if you have depression, or even something like leaving the house, for instance. You may suffer from anxiety, find it hard to leave the house, but you manage one day to leave the house and take a walk down to your local corner shop. These things might seem insignificant to other people, but these things to you, if you're somebody who struggled to do them, are huge wins. So I want to encourage you as well to celebrate whatever wins you have in 2021, no matter how big or small. It doesn't matter if they don't matter to anybody else. Make sure that they matter to you and that you note them, record them, so that you can look back when things might not be going too well, so that you can remind yourself, that you've had small wins and victories in things that matter to you. Another thing I want to share with you about how to have a healthy 2021 is to educate yourself on the things that have affected you. This to me was one